What's up, Nerferders? Hope you are all doing well out there. Today, what does the Rise of Skywalker mean? So, we got the title reveal at Star Wars Celebration in Chicago last week, and we finally have this title, Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. So, I want to talk about, a couple of things as to what I feel this could mean and how I feel about this. And I really do love the title. I think it's a great title. It holds a lot of weight. And to close out this trilogy and close out the 9-film arc for the Skywalker saga, I think it's proper to have Skywalker in the title, and I really like where they're going with this. So, a couple of ideas as to what this could mean and what I hope it could potentially mean. You can take it very literal or it could be metaphoric. So, there is only one surviving Skywalker right now, in theory. I don't think they're going to do anything with Leia, of course, because Carrie Fisher, rest in peace, bless her soul, but Carrie is no longer with us, so they're not going to continue this based off of Princess Leia's character through the movies. So really the only one that we've got to work with here is Kylo Ren, or Ben Solo, or Ben Skywalker, however you want to go about it. He is the surviving Skywalker right now. So if we take it literally as the Rise of Skywalker, what's pertaining to an individual, it would be a redemption arc for Kylo Ren, which I think is entirely possible, especially if the Emperor is going to be brought back into the fold here and, have a primary role in this film, or at least be the overarching supervillain per se. We could see a redemption arc from Kylo Ren coming back to being Ben Solo / Skywalker, working with Rey to overthrow the Emperor and potentially dying in that process, ending the arc of the Skywalkers and bringing that full balance to the Force through the Skywalker name and the Palpatine name, because that's really been the struggle throughout this entire saga. It's been the Palpatine, or the God, I keep saying the Palpatines. It's Palpatine and the Skywalkers. That's what this has really been boiled across, and I think they could do some cool things in this movie with Palpatine to show where his presence has been through The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. That being him being the one talking through Darth Vader's helmet to keep Kylo Ren on this path to the dark side and bringing that about. He could have been the overseer of Snoke or been some form of a physical embodiment of Snoke this whole time, since we know he has the power through the dark side to cheat death, as we learned in Revenge of the Sith and the story of Darth Plagueis. So that they could definitely do things to make episodes 7 and 8 feel a little bit more relevant with Palpatine and have a different perspective watching those movies, knowing that Palpatine has been in the background pulling strings the whole time. So I think there's ways they can do this. If they do the redemption arc, though, they just need to do it carefully and make it very interesting. It can't be as simple as he realizes that Palpatine's pulling strings, realizes that, Darth Vader got redemption, became Anakin Skywalker, and just, pop immediately turns back to the light. They would have to do a clever thing to make it a little bit more believable and emotional than just snapping him back to the light side. That's a literal way that this could go about with the redemption arc for Kylo Ren. Now, if we go to the other Skywalker names throughout the saga here, Luke Skywalker being next in line, does the Rise of Skywalker mean Luke is going to have some insane rise and, become this all-powerful Luke either through the Force, or maybe he's not dead and, what's JJ going to do with that? That could be something too. Maybe Kylo doesn't have a redemption arc. Maybe it turns into Rey resolving everything with Kylo in that form, but it's going to be Luke who ultimately stands up to the Emperor, or maybe a combination of Luke and Anakin if Anakin comes back into the fold in some sense. So maybe we're going to see, not only Rey and Kylo Ren through, actually living people, but maybe some kind of a legit Force battle of the Force ghost of maybe Luke and Anakin, or just Luke against, Palpatine being a Sith ghost or something. So maybe that's what the Rise of Skywalker could mean. You're actually going to see a literal rise of Anakin, Luke, Andor, and that would be the battle of, the light side of the Force versus the dark side of the Force. That would be something interesting if that's played off properly. And then we've got the other option, which would be if this is kind of a metaphorical thing, meaning the Rise of Skywalker isn't the name of Skywalker itself, so it's not talking about an individual. But a very interesting theory, which I really do like, would be that the new name of the Jedi would be Skywalker. So the Jedi have evolved, they've become a different thing, and Rey being the first of what is now known as Skywalkers. And she would be the first Skywalker. That would make sense considering this is called the Rise of Skywalker. If this is ending, this 9-movie arc of the Skywalker saga, it's a little interesting that it would be the Rise of Skywalker to close this out. The only rise that they could have, if there is going to be a legit rise, would be the redemption arc for Ben, or if Skywalker carries on the new name of Jedi. Because even if they reveal that Rey is a Skywalker, which I hope they don't do in this case, she can't really rise, and there's no rise of Skywalker for Rey at this point. She is already super powerful. She's already risen. The Force is in her. So there can't be a rise of Skywalker through Rey at this point. I don't think that would make a whole lot of sense. So if this is a metaphorical term in a sense to where Skywalker is the new name for Jedi, they could run with that. The only issue that kind of draws back to that, though, is in The Last Jedi, the whole idea of The Last Jedi is that Luke is the last Jedi, right? Like, he is a Jedi. His whole, persona in that film is the Jedi need to end, and he's basically convincing that of Rey. He's already convinced himself of that. But at the end of the movie, not only, does he try to get rid of the Jedi, but he says to Kylo, I will not be the last Jedi. And then they cut to Rey immediately as if, no, Rey's going to carry on the name of the Jedi. So the rise of Skywalker, I don't think that could mean that Rey would be that first Skywalker. Technically, Rey would be a Jedi unless they're retconning things with which, JJ, how this teaser is panned out, Kylo's helmet getting repaired, the Skywalker saber being repaired. He's already changing and going against the grain of what Rian Johnson set up with, rightfully so, because Rian Johnson messed this up so bad and didn't leave any threads to pull from. So it could be that Rey is legitimately the last Jedi, as they basically pointed out in that movie, Episode 8, and maybe her disciples or, other Force users that she's training, or, whatever the case might be, that might be what the rise of Skywalker is. I just don't think you could do that without retconning what happened in Episode 8, which they might do anyways. But in The Last Jedi, Luke Skywalker straight up says, like, I will not be the last Jedi. And he's, of course, referencing to Rey. So Rey can't be the last Jedi and the first Skywalker. It's got to be one or the other in my eyes. So there's a little bit of continuity there if they go that route, or if Rey is the last Jedi and then it's the rise of Skywalker, which would be the next Force user. So I guess they could go either which way with it, but nevertheless, it's a great title. I really like the title because it just has weight to it, and to see the Skywalker name in one of these saga titles here, I love it. And I just hope that whatever they do with this movie, being the rise of Skywalker, or, Rey's heritage, or if they're going to do a redemption arc for Ben, whatever the case might be, I just want to see this get brought home to a satisfying conclusion, because The Last Jedi messed so much up, and I just want JJ to bring this home at least enough to where you can watch episodes 7 and 9, or hopefully make 8 more tolerable, and this will all be brought home. So that's where I'm at with this, guys. I would love to know what your thoughts are with everything. That's my thoughts on the rise of Skywalker and where this could be potentially going. So thank you all very much for watching. If you're new to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. May the Force be with you, and I will catch you all next time.